Assalamu alaikum. So yesterday we started talking about traffic control devices, and we discussed different type of devices, and then we moved on to signals. Okay, and this is what we are going to uh, discuss in detail right now. So yesterday we discussed what are traffic signals and why do we use them, what are the benefits. Today we'll start with signal indication. So um, signal indications, I think we know about them, green, yellow and red. Okay, we call them signal lights, they are calling them balls. So green ball, yellow ball, red ball. Ball, why? Because they are circular, okay, and they have bulb inside them which is also circular, so they call them balls. Then a point about yellow ball, we are talking about yellow which is which happens when you are when the signal is moving from green to red. Okay, because that one is more critical because you are moving, right? So you're moving, you need to decide whether you should slow down or stop or do something else. Okay, so in our case speed up, right? So you need to decide about that. So that yellow ball is more critical than the yellow ball which you have when you go from red to green, because you are already stopped. So even if somehow you move during yellow, it's no problem. There is no issue regarding safety. But the other yellow has a safety issue, because if you misjudge your movement, then maybe you will end up in the middle of the intersection while other signal is opened. Okay, so that yellow, we will only discuss that yellow which is more critical. Okay, and you can apply the same timing to the other one as well. Then we have flashing balls. Okay, now we are not talking about, first of all, we are not talking about the flashing greens which they have started since a year on the signals in Bahrain. We are not talking about that. Okay, that flashing green is not continuous. We are talking about flashing, continuous flashing balls, continuous flashing lights which are constantly flashing the same color, which are constantly flashing the same color. Okay, so for example, those flashing lights include flashing yellow and flashing red. Okay, because continuously flashing green means what? Nothing, right? If it is continuously flashing green, it's not changing. That means what? It's like you don't have any signal, right? Flashing green means what? Like green. Okay, so flashing yellow means that it's like a give way or a yield sign. So you can proceed, you can keep on proceeding with caution. Right? Give way sign means what? Proceed with caution. So you slow down and you will enter intersection if there is nobody, and you will not enter if the intersection is occupied, right? So this is what we mean by flashing yellow as well. So continuous flashing yellow means the signal is not working fully, you just proceed with caution. And then we have flashing red, which means that again the signal is not working fully. Flashing red means it's like a stop sign. So you come, you have to stop, and then you will only move if the signal intersection is empty. Okay, and again these are continuously flashing the same lights. Okay, so like I said, the signal is not working fully. Okay, the flashing green signals are working fully, they are showing the other indications as well. So after the flashing green you have yellow and then red and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is not what we mean here. That is part of the green time. Flashing green is part of the green time. Then we have arrow indications. So few if you have an intersection where you are giving different phase, different timing for turning movements, then you will see the signal for that movement is with an arrow indication. So in many intersections in Bahrain, you will find signals which have straight arrows and left turning arrows, right? Signals, the green light itself is showing, okay, I'm talking about the arrow inside the green, inside the signal, okay, with that. So the green light is like a straight arrow or a left turning arrow, okay. So arrow indication means the signal is a sign for a particular movement. Okay, so the arrow is showing straight, that means this signal is just for the straight movement. There is arrow is showing left, that means it is only for the left turning. And I have seen one applications, I cannot remember, but I have seen arrows for U-turns as well. Okay. Then these are the side distances of a signal. and sight distance, we know that it depends upon speed. Okay, so they have given sight distance according to 85th percentile speed. Okay, so you need to find out the spot speed of the highway, and then according to that you will find out how much you will plot it, and you will find out the 85th percentile speed like we have done in for the spot speeds, and then you will find out the minimum sight distance. Okay. Then what are the components of a signal? For the first one is what we have already discussed for delay observations, that is cycle, a signal cycle. So what is a signal cycle? It is the process during which all movements receive their green, or it is the process during which signal completes the full rotation of all its indications. Full rotation of all indications. So full rotation of all indications means what? That every side has received their green, yellow, and red time, right? So at least green time is completed, because that means the green time is completed for all the movements, right? Because if the signal is completed the full rotation, that means every side has received green time once. Okay, so this is a cycle. Then cycle length means the time taken to complete the cycle. The time taken to complete one cycle. Then within a cycle you have intervals. Interval is a part of a cycle. Interval is that part of the cycle where the signal indications are not changing. The part of the cycle where signal indications are not changing. For example, the signal became green for you. So when it turned into green, that was the start of the green interval. Okay. So till the time when no other indication changes, or the indication for you doesn't change, it will remain part of this interval, this green interval. So when the signal changes from green to yellow, that is a start of a new interval. Okay, so till the time it remains yellow and all the indications are the same, it will be the same interval. Okay, so interval starts whenever any indication of the signal changes, and it will keep on in the same interval. The interval will remain the same until any other indication changes. The interval can be of 4 types. You have change interval, clearance interval, green interval, and red interval. We know about green and red, right? We know about green and red. Change means yellow interval. Change means yellow interval. And again, yellow can be from green to red or red to green. But as I said, in the design analysis, we will be using the more critical one, which is green to red. Okay, which is green to red. But even if it is from red to green, we'll still call it change interval. Then we have clearance interval. Clearance interval means all signals are red. All signal faces are red. All directions are having red time. This is what we call as clearance interval, or all red time. Now, why do we give clearance interval? When you reach yellow time, okay. When you reach the signal during yellow time. Now you have to decide whether you should move or not. Let's say you have decided that I should move. Okay, I have enough time, I should move. In our case, this is always, right? In our case, this is always. Whenever we see yellow, we think, okay, now fine, we have enough time. Until the signal becomes red and I see it with my own eyes, I have enough time. So we want to utilize even the last fraction of a second of yellow as well. So what can happen in that case? You may cross the stop line and the signal becomes red behind you. So you are still in the intersection and signal has become red. So if that time I start green for some other movement, then that driver will also enter and you may have an accident with him. Okay. So that's why for 1 or 2 extra seconds, we keep all other signals as red as well. So your signal is red and all other signals are red. So that means it's all red. Okay, and this is why we call it clearance interval, because this is the time given for a driver who has entered during yellow to clear the intersection. Okay, so clearance interval is the time given for the driver who has crossed the stop line during yellow interval to clear the intersection. Okay, so during that time, no signal is open. Then we have the phase. Phase is combination of intervals. Which intervals? Green, yellow, and clearance. Green, change, and clearance interval. So phase is a combination of 3 intervals for a particular movement. Okay, so on signals you have different movements. So for any movement, when any movement completes it's green, yellow, and all red interval. This is its phase. Okay, this is the timing of its phase. So in this time, a driver from that direction can move depending upon its position, right? Obviously, in all red, you cannot move if you are still behind the stop line, right? All red is for a person who's already in that intersection. But this is the time given for the movement of any particular direction, right? For any particular direction. So no other direction is taking place. No other movement is taking place during this phase. So when you have phase for a particular movement, all other movements are, stopped. So phase is basically the time in which one movement is facilitated by halting the other movements. Okay, so during even all that time, other movements are still halted, they are blocked. Okay, signal can be operated in three ways. You have pre-timed, semi-actuated, and fully actuated. Pre-timed means the signal is programmed in advance and will not change its timing according to actual traffic conditions. But we put different timing plans in the signal from our prediction of the traffic conditions in different times of the day. So we predict that in the morning time, this side should have more green time because it normally has more volume. In the evening, this side should have more green time because in the normally this side has more volume, and so on. So the signal will work according to what we have already installed, okay, beforehand. Okay, but if due to some reason the actual traffic condition changes, the signal will not change its timing automatically. So there are different timing plans which are installed within the signal, and they work in different timing of the day. So you may have a plan for AM peak hour, PM peak hour, morning and evening basically, and then the off peak hours. So the internal clock is basically allowing the signal to change its timing according to time of the day. Okay, time of the day, not the traffic conditions, time of the day. It's your job as a traffic engineer when you are putting a pre-timed signal to make sure the traffic conditions, the timing is according to actual traffic conditions. If you made a mistake or if the traffic condition on that day changes, the signal timing will not change. Then we have semi-actuated. Semi-actuated are attached with a detector or a sensor. They are used at the intersection of a major road with a minor road, and they are basically attached with the detector on the minor road. So the signal on the major road keeps on green, keeps on showing green until the detector on the minor road detects a vehicle. Okay, so until there is a call of a vehicle or actuation of a vehicle from the detector on the minor road, thus the indication on the major road remains green. Okay. If so, I think these type of signals are used in Bahrain as well. So whenever you may experience this, that whenever you are, there are some major roads which are crossing minor streets, and whenever you are going straight on the major road, most of the time the signal is green for you. Okay, I think on Wadi Al Ahd highway in front of Wadi Al Sail, this is the case. Okay, the straight movement is most of the times going on. Okay. And then the minor approaches usually, I'm not sure, but whenever you see this thing happening, that major approaches are, most of the times, green, and major approaches are most of the times green, and minor approaches are most of the times red. That means it's a semi-actuated signal. Then we have fully actuated, which is installed at the intersection of two major roads, and so all directions have detectors. All directions have detectors. In that case, the programming of the signal is according to the detector. So signal may change its cycle length, phase timing, green time, okay, as well as sequence of the phases. For example, let's say this is your let's say Okay, so let's say this is your intersection. Okay, and usually on this intersection, this side basically receives the green time first, this one, and then you have this side, and then you have this side, and then you have this side. So it goes from south to east to north to west. Okay, but let's say the detector shows that you get bigger now. Okay, so let's say the detector shows that this particular side, when this side was open, when the south side was open, the queue on the north side became very long. Okay, so this is pointed by the detector. So instead of going from south to east, it went from south to north. Okay, so this is what we mean a phase sequence. Okay, after one green, which other side will receive the green? So if you have fully actuated signal, then the sequence of the green times may also change. Okay, and it can also change the total cycle time as well. Okay, so if you have more volume in all directions, then total cycle time may increase. If you have only volume increasing in one direction, then the green time of only that direction may increase. Okay, so fully actuated signal has full flexibility, you can say. Then we have the concept of signal coordination. Now the signals along the arterials are normally coordinated in a way that the timing of one signal is linked with the timing of the next one. Why? So that when you are on one signal, you are stopped on one signal, when you reach the next one, in normal traffic conditions, the other signal should become green for you as well. So you can move on without a stoppage. Okay, so this is a concept, or this is an approach which is applied to arterials or major highways, so that people on the major highway can keep on moving with minimum number of stoppages and delays. So whenever you stop, you incur delay as well. So I'm minimizing your number of stops, so you will have less delay. But keep in mind, then the other approaches. So we have the arterial, and then there are the approaches from the other sides as well, right? So the other sides will not have this benefit. They may, they may be stopping on each and every signal. Okay, but that is not our priority. Our priority is to reduce the delay on the arterials. Okay. Now, how do we achieve this link between one signal and the other? We achieve it through providing offsets. What are offsets? Offset is the difference in green indication of one signal to the next one. Okay, so for example, signal 1 becomes green, and after 20 seconds, the next one becomes green as well. Signal 2 becomes green as well. So 20 seconds is the offset. Now, how do we calculate the offset? Offset will depend upon how much time you need to go from one signal to the next. How much time you need to go from one signal to the next. So if I put the offset as 20 seconds, that means I am saying driver needs 20 seconds to go from signal 1 to signal 2. So when he reaches for signal 2, he will clear it while it is open for him. Okay. So offset is the linking between the two green times. Okay, the green time of the two signals. For signal coordination, it is important that you have a common cycle length for all the coordinated signals, and it cannot change. The cycle lengths, like I said, for fully actuated, cycle lengths can change. But if the signals are coordinated, then cycle lengths cannot change. Because if cycle length changes, then green time should also change. Then you cannot maintain the offset, right? How do you maintain the offset? Offset is dependent upon green time. Offset is for the green time, right? So if the green time cycle length is changing, green time is changing, offset will not remain constant. Okay, and you need a constant offset because the time from one signal to the next one is same, constant. So coordinated signals are used with common cycle length, and you cannot change it. If you want to see its examples in Bahrain, again, I am just telling from my experience, since I have traveled on these highways, Oman Nassan Highway and 16 December Highway, they seem to be coordinated. Okay, again, coordinated for straight movement. So you may say, I go on 16 December Highway, before COVID, I used to go on 16 December Highway. I used to come from the education area and then go from one signal to the next one. It was always becoming red. So it was becoming red because you take more time when you are turning into the highway. So the offset did not account for you. And secondly, it was for normal traffic conditions. The conditions in which we go out of the campus is usually high traffic conditions, or used to be high traffic conditions. So then, coordination will not work so efficiently. Okay, it works, but it doesn't work so efficiently. Then let us discuss the concept of calculating the capacity of the signal. Calculating the capacity of the signal. Capacity is calculated using the concept of saturation headway and flow rate. First of all, we have discussed headway. Headway is the time interval between two vehicles, right? Somebody asked me in the previous section, so I thought I should say it again. Headway is the time interval between two vehicles to pass a reference point, okay, from a common reference point. What is saturation headway? Saturation headway is the headway achieved in crossing the stop line of a signal in saturated and stable condition. When the vehicles are moving in a stable and consistent manner, then the headway which you achieve in that condition, the average headway which you achieve in that condition, is known as saturation headway. Okay, so saturation headway is the average headway achieved while the vehicles are moving through a signal in stable and consistent manner. Okay, and it is represented with H, and we know the units are seconds per vehicle. Okay, we already know the units, we have discussed it already. Then you can see an equation at the bottom of the slides. So this is the same equation to calculate flow rate using the headway. Simple equation, we have seen it earlier as well. Now, if you are putting saturation headway into this equation, then the flow rate which you will get will be known as saturation flow rate. Okay, this is a mathematical concept. Okay, that if you are using saturation headway to calculate flow rate, then it will be called as saturation flow rate. Makes sense, right? What is the theoretical definition of saturation flow rate? It is the flow rate achieved during continuous 1 hour of green time. It is the flow rate achieved during continuous 1 hour of green time. Okay, and then you can imagine that it is a theoretical value, right? How do you have 1 hour of continuous green? Huh? Then it will be like you are in heaven, the other drivers are in hell, right? So 1 hour of green time is not possible. Continuous 1 hour of green time is not possible. So that means saturation flow rate is a theoretical value, or you can say it is the absolute maximum. Okay, the ultimate maximum. Okay, of or it is the ultimate capacity of any lane. It is the ultimate capacity of any lane. And why I'm saying any lane? Because I told you earlier as well. Whenever you are using headway to calculate the flow rate, it is by default per lane. So it will be vehicles per hour per lane. Okay, because headway is measured in two vehicles which are in the same lane, right? Otherwise, how would you measure the headway if two vehicles are passing simultaneously from different lanes? Okay, so saturation headway is saturation flow rate is vehicles per hour per lane. Now, how do you measure saturation headway? Saturation headway is measured by taking the interval between vehicles which are passing through in a queue from a signal. Okay, so you are standing at the stop line and then you are measuring the time taken between two vehicles to cross the stop line. Okay, now the time interval between the first two vehicles will not be called as saturation headway. Even the second two vehicles or the third two vehicles will not be called as saturation headway. Saturation headway starts from fourth vehicle in the queue onwards. Saturation headway, you will start to observe saturation headway between the vehicles from fourth vehicle to onwards. The headway between the first two vehicles will be the highest. Then the second two vehicles, the second value will be lower, third value will be lower, and the fourth one will achieve the lowest, because saturation headway is the lowest basically. A stable, consistent conditions of traffic will result in a very low value of saturation headway, minimum possible value of saturation headway. So up till the fourth vehicle, the headway which you will observe cannot be called as saturation headway because they will be higher than saturation value. Okay, why they are higher? Why? Now the question is why the first 3-4 vehicles in the queue have higher headway than the saturation value. Okay, because they are not first of all they are moving slowly. Okay, because for example you consider the first vehicle in the queue. So this is the first vehicle in the queue. Okay, so when it reaches the stop line, it was at 0 speed here. So when it reached the stop line, its speed was maybe 10 or something like that. Okay, So headway between slow vehicles is naturally higher. So the first 3-4 vehicles are slower than the remaining vehicles, right? They are gaining speed. Okay, so the second vehicle will be faster when it crosses the stop line. The third vehicle will be faster than that as well, and so on. So when they are gaining speed, the headways keeps on getting lower, which you can see in this graph as well. So the headway for the first value of headway was the highest because it was between the two slowest vehicles. Second was lower, then third was lower, and then you achieve the minimum value. So one reason of having lower headways for the remaining vehicles is because the speed of the vehicles is getting higher. With every other vehicle in the queue, their speed is getting higher and higher. Second reason is preparation of the driver. When the first driver, when the signal became green, the first driver took some time to move because he was the first one to move. Okay, so the time which he took for preparation, putting the mobile in the pocket, turning on the music system, or looking at the signal because he was looking here and there for the offers and so on. So to pay attention and get ready, put the vehicle in gear and so on, this would have taken some time. So this driver took more time than the second driver because second driver already saw the signal green before it was his turn to move. He could only move after the first driver, right? So before he had to move, actually he was fully prepared. Third driver had more time to prepare, and the fourth driver had more time to prepare. So since the drivers are having more time to prepare, their headways are also getting lower and lower. Okay, because they are prepared, so they are moving ahead on the first go. Okay, but the first driver, he was taking some time to get prepared. Okay, so because of that, the first 3-4 vehicles have extra headway than the saturation value. Okay, and that extra headway is known as a startup loss time. What is startup loss time? The extra headway consumed by the first 3-4 vehicles in the queue in addition to the saturation headway. So the full headway is not a startup loss time. So for example, saturation headway, which you measure from the fourth vehicle onwards, was, let's say, on average 3 seconds. Now the first two vehicles had a headway of 1.2 seconds. Oh, sorry, 4.2 seconds. 4.2 seconds. So 4.2 is not a startup loss time. The startup loss time is 1.2 seconds because 3 seconds is saturation headway. So 4.2 minus 3, the startup loss time is 1.2. 1.2 for the first two vehicles, and then you will find it for the next two vehicles and the next two vehicles as well. Okay, so you will find out startup loss time for at least 3 pairs of vehicles. Okay, at least 3 pairs of vehicles, and the startup loss time is basically the loss time of these vehicles minus the average saturation headway. Okay, the headway between these vehicles minus the saturation headway. Okay, so every pair of vehicle will have its own value, and then you add them for the first 3 pairs. Okay, so we will call it as L1, and L1 is startup loss time, and delta is the extra time taken by each vehicle. So you add it for all the you add it for the first 3 or 4 vehicles in the queue. Then we have total loss time. Every phase has 2 types of loss time. Every signal phase has 2 types of loss time. One is a startup loss time, which happens when the signal becomes green. I've already explained it. And then the second one is clearance loss time. And again, I've explained it. This is basically the all red time, right? It is the all red time. So when all signals are red, that means loss time. Okay, it's a loss time as far as the signal timing is concerned. But that time is not assigned to any movement. All that time is not assigned to any movement. So that is L2, clearance loss time. So every phase of the signal has 2 loss times, L1 and L2. Okay. Then we have the concept of effective green time. Effective green time is the part of the actual green time. And I'm calling actual green means then the signal was showing the green light. So the signal was showing the green light, let's say for 20 seconds. Okay, for 20 seconds is the actual green time, and we will term it as capital G here. So capital G is the actual green time. The signal was showing the green light. Okay. Then what is effective green? This is the part of the green time when the vehicles were moving at saturation headway. The part of the green time when the vehicles are moving at saturation headway. So how do I calculate effective green? Actual green plus capital Y. Now capital Y doesn't mean yellow. Yellow time is small y. Yellow time is small y. Capital Y means yellow plus all red. Yellow plus all red. Okay. So capital Y is yellow plus all red. So G, capital G plus capital Y means the total phase time. I told you phase time is green plus yellow plus all red. So capital G plus capital Y means total phase time minus the lost times. Makes sense, right? Minus the lost times. Because lost time includes the clearance lost time as well as the startup lost time, where the vehicles were moving at more headway than the saturation value. Okay, so total phase time minus the total lost time. Okay, so this will give you effective green time. So in one phase, the vehicles move at saturation headway in this much time. Okay, this is the time available for them to move at saturation headway. Now let us look at how do we use saturation headway and saturation flow rate to calculate the capacity of any direction. So this in this example, we are calculating capacity of a particular direction or a particular movement. This is not the capacity of the entire intersection. Okay. For that, we'll look at another equation later on. So there's a signal whose total cycle length is 60 seconds. Green time for what movement? The movement for which I am talking about. Okay. So obviously the green time for all the movements will not be the same, right? So the movement for which I'm going to calculate the capacity has a green time of 27 seconds. This is its actual green time, capital G. Okay. Then for that movement, the yellow plus all red time is 4 seconds, capital Y. Saturation headway 2.4 seconds per vehicle. It is the same normally for all directions. Okay. So for this movement, it is also 2.4 seconds per vehicle. They already measured it. Then we have a startup loss time. L1 2 seconds, clearance loss time, all that time L2 2 seconds. Okay. What is the capacity per lane for this movement? How many vehicles can go in 1 hour from each lane of this movement? So this is what we have to calculate. And I will use two approaches to calculate the capacity. Okay. The first approach is using the saturation headway, and the second approach I will use saturation headway as well as saturation flow rate. Let us look at the first approach. One cycle has 60 seconds. So in 1 hour I will have 60 cycles. Right? If one cycle takes 60 seconds, then in 1 hour I will have 60 cycles. Okay, how did I do this? Let me just show it here. So 3600 total time in 1 hour divided by cycle length. Okay, so 60 is not a constant. 60 is not a constant. Cycle length was given as 60, so I divide by 60. The cycle length was given 90 seconds, I will divide by 90. Okay, so 3600 upon 60 will give you 60 cycles in 1 hour. Okay, so it makes sense, right? One cycle is 60 seconds means 1 minute, and in 1 hour you have 60 minutes. Okay. Okay. So this is how we calculate the number of cycles per hour. Okay. Then effective green time in 1 hour. How much green time I have in one cycle? How much effective green time I have in one cycle? In one cycle, the green time equals actual green plus capital Y, yellow plus all red, minus the lost time. Actual green is 27 seconds. Lost time, yellow plus all red is 4 seconds given here. Lost time is L1 plus L2. So L1 2 seconds, L2 2 seconds. So L1 plus L2 means 4. Okay. So this is plus 4 for capital Y and minus 4 for the total lost time. So this is effective green time in one cycle for this movement. And in 1 hour, I have 60 cycles. So this effective green time multiplied by 60 will give me 1620 seconds of effective green in 1 hour. So this movement has 1620 seconds of effective green in 1 hour. In 1620 seconds, in these 1620 seconds, the vehicles are moving at what rate? The vehicles are moving at a rate of saturation headway, right? The interval between each pair of vehicles 2.4 seconds. This is the definition of effective green, right? The time during which the vehicles are able to move at saturation headway. So during 1620 seconds of an hour, the vehicles are moving at 2.4 seconds per vehicle. So total available time of effective green divided by the interval between the vehicles during that time will give you number of vehicles. Okay, 1620 seconds total time divided by the rate of vehicles it will give you 675 vehicles per hour per lane. And why per lane? Because I'm using headway. Okay. Then the second approach is using the saturation flow rate. Okay. So I've already showed you the equation for saturation flow rate, 3600 upon H, saturation headway. So first of all, you calculated saturation flow rate, which is 1500 vehicles per hour per lane. I told you this is the theoretical value. Why? Because this value can only be achieved if the full cycle was green, if the full cycle was effective green, right? Which is not the case here. The full cycle is not effective green. How much of the percentage of the cycle is effective green? If the full cycle was effective green, so effective green would have been equal to 60 seconds, right? One cycle equals 60 seconds. So a full cycle is effective green. That means effective green will become 60. Okay. So in that case, you can achieve 1500 vehicles per hour per lane. Okay. Now in the present condition, full cycle is not, effective green is not 60 seconds. Effective green is only 27 seconds. Again, how did I calculate it? Capital G plus capital Y minus the lost times, L1 plus L2. Because the capital G is 27, the capital Y, yellow plus solid is 4, and L1 plus L2 is also equals to 4, 2 plus 2. So 27 seconds of effective green in 27 seconds of effective green is available in one cycle. Okay. So you will, if this value was 60, that means the whole cycle was effective green, you will achieve 1500. But now I will achieve the percentage of cycle length which is effective green. I will achieve percentage of saturation flow rate which is proportional to the percentage of cycle which is effective green. Okay, so capacity will be 1500, which is the theoretical value or the maximum value, multiplied by the percentage of cycle which is effective green. So as I said, if the complete cycle was effective green, you would have achieved 1500. So this ratio would have been 60 upon 60, right? This ratio would have been 60 upon 60. Then you would have achieved 1500. But now I will achieve a part of 1500, a percentage of 1500. How much percentage? The percentage of cycle length which is effective green. I will achieve the same percentage of saturation flow rate as the percentage of cycle length which is effective green. So 27 upon 60, the percentage of cycle length which is effective green, multiplied by saturation headway, you have capacity of this lane. Okay, and you can see both approaches are giving the same value, 675 vehicles per hour per lane. Both cases you have the same value. Okay. Now if you want to calculate the capacity of the entire intersection, so we are talking about now volume from all sides, So first of all, we start with the calculation of lost time. So one phase has a lost time equal to TL. So total lost time in one cycle will be TL multiplied by number of phases. TL is the lost time in one phase multiplied by N, which is the number of phases. So you'll get total lost time, which we are putting as L here. L means total lost time in one cycle. Then lost time in 1 hour. Lost time in one cycle multiplied by the number of cycles in an hour. Multiplied by the number of cycles in 1 hour. So 3600 is the total time divided by cycle length. C. The same thing which I used in the previous example. See this one? This, right? I'm doing this. Number of cycles in 1 hour. So L is the lost time in one cycle, and 3600 upon C will give you number of cycles in 1 hour. So you will get the lost time in 1 hour. Okay. Then effective green time in 1 hour. Effective TG is total effective green time in 1 hour. And this is now for all sites. Okay, this is for all sites because we have already multiplied the number of phases here. So 3600 minus lost time of the hour. Okay, so total number of seconds in the hour minus the number of seconds in the lost time. Okay, so you will get effective green for the entire hour for all sites. Okay, and then during this time the vehicles are moving at saturation headway, right? We said during effective green the vehicles move at saturation headway. So the how many vehicles can move during time TG upon H. Again, same thing which I did for one side in the previous example. This thing. Okay, but this was only for one side. Now it is for all the sides. Okay, so TG is the total effective green time for all the sides. Okay, and H is the saturation headway. Now in this equation, I can replace TG with 3600 minus LH. Then I can replace LH with L multiplied by 3600.C. Then I can replace L with N TL. So all terms will be replaced in the equation of VC. All terms will be replaced except H, L, N, and TL. Okay, you replace TG with this equation, then LH with this equation, and then L with this equation. Okay, so VC, the final equation of VC will contain H, because there is no equation for H here, right? And C, and N, and TL. Okay, so the final equation of VC is this one. What is VC? Capacity of the entire intersection. Capacity of the entire intersection. Okay, so in this equation you can see there are variables H, N, TL, and C. H is saturation headway. Saturation headway depends upon the behavior of the driver. You cannot change it. This is the minimum headway they are keeping between themselves. So you cannot force the driver to attain a certain value. You cannot say no, headway between you will be 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So you will headway will come from the field. You will observe it and you will get it whatever it is. Lost time. So lost time includes startup lost time, right? And lost time includes clearance lost time as well. The startup lost time depends upon the value of the headway. Remember, you have to take the difference between saturation headway and the first few vehicles headway, and you will add them to get the startup lost time. So again, startup lost time you cannot control. Clearance lost time depends upon the dimension of the intersection. If the intersection is wider, you have to give more time to the driver to clear. Intersection is smaller, you will give him less time. So again, so basically TL has startup loss time and clearance loss time, and both these things cannot be controlled by you. One is coming from the driver behavior, which is the startup loss time, and the other one is coming from the geometry of the intersection. So you cannot control any of them. Okay, so TL is beyond our control. Two parameters which we can control in our design is N and C. N and C. These are the two parameters which we can decide what they should be. Okay, now you see they have plotted VC using different values of N and cycle length, number of phases and cycle length. Now you can see y-axis VC, x-axis cycle length, and then there are different curves for each number of phases. Now you can see when I increase the number of phases, capacity decreases. Why? Because with each phase, with each new phase, you are adding lost time as well. Each phase has a lost time of TL, right? So when you increase the number of phases, you are also increasing the total lost time as well. So obviously, increase lost time, you are giving less time to the vehicles. Okay. Then now you can see all these three curves, they go upwards when cycle length is increased. All these three curves go upward when the cycle length is increased. Okay. So that means if you increase the cycle length, the capacity will increase. Okay, that makes sense because you are now giving more time, right? You are now giving more time. You have more time to give to the green indication and the yellow indication and so on. Okay, so increase the cycle length means you are increasing capacity. So from this figure, we should be trying to give minimum number of phases and maximum cycle length, right? You should be trying to give minimum number of phases, maximum cycle length. Minimum is 2 phases. Okay. Minimum is 2 phases because you cannot have one, right? One means what? One means what? The signal is not changing at all. One phase means what? Just showing the same light. So what is the point of having the signal? So one is not possible. The minimum is 2. I will show you later on in the examples how do we achieve 2 phases. Okay, even 2 is not possible for our case. So why do we give different phases in the signal? We give different phases to secure the driver, right? So that different conflicting movements do not enter the intersection at the same time. That's why each movement should have a separate phase, right? So decreasing the number of phases to a minimum value or close to minimum value may have safety issues. Okay, so achieving 2 phases may not be possible, or achieving close to, or you can say you have to increase the phases according to your safety requirements. Okay, on all intersections, it is not possible to achieve minimum number of phases. Okay, because it will create safety issues. It will create more accidents. Secondly, okay, number of phases I cannot. I have to look for the safety. What about cycle length? Should I keep on increasing the cycle length infinitely? Okay, why not I make cycle length half an hour or 1 hour like we did it, like we said for saturation flow rate? if you increase the cycle length, what will happen? If you have come to a big intersection, let's say intersection between Sheikh Salman Highway and 16 December Highway and Sheikh Zayed Highway. So what happens? You come to the intersection, the signal has just become red. Now, if the signal has become red, that means now you are stuck there because the signal will now become green maybe after 3-4 minutes. Okay, so why 3-4 minutes? Because other directions also have high volume, and to accommodate them, the total cycle length is more. So while you are having red, the other directions were having green, right? So if each direction has 1 minute of green, that means you will stay there for 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so increasing the cycle length means what? You are increasing green time, right? Basically, you are trying to increase the cycle length so that you can give more green time to different movements. But while you are increasing green time for one movement, you are increasing red time for all other movements. So if you make the cycle length, let's say 15 minutes, and each direction will have a green time of 5 minutes. But imagine the red time for that direction. If they have a green time of 5 minutes, that means the remaining 10 minutes are what? Red time for them. And you cannot let that happen. In 10 minutes, you will have a queue going up to the, up to the airport or the causeway. Okay, so you cannot let that happen. So cycle length again cannot be increased infinitely, because you while you're increasing the cycle length, that means you are also increasing the red time within the cycle. You are not only increasing the green time. Okay, and the red time is usually higher, right? You have more red time than your green time. Okay, so when you increase the cycle length, you increase green time for one phase, that means you are increasing red time for the other phases, all other phases. Okay, so that's why you have to limit the cycle length as well as number of phases. Okay, people who are doing intersections, I believe there are only 1 or 2 groups, so they have to perform all the calculations which I'm showing you in this chapter. Okay, so there are still some left till the end. So whatever I have shown you in this chapter, you will do it if you are doing intersections. If you are doing intersections, I think there are only 1 or 2 groups which have 4 or 5 members. So you will calculate flow rate, you have to show me the number of phases and so on and so forth. Okay, if you have questions, obviously you can ask me, but not in the class, because everybody is not doing that. Okay, so you can ask me questions like privately. And this is okay. Dua Rabi, Amna Muhammad, Muhammad Usama, Amal Abdullah. Dua Rabi, Amna Muhammad, Muhammad Usama, Amal Abdullah. Okay, is here. Amal, Muhammad Noman, Ali Muhammad, Hakim Ali. Amal Abdullah, Muhammad Noman, Ali Muhammad, Hakim Ali. Muhammad Noman and Hakim Ali. Zahra Sayyid, Fawaz Adil, Abdullah Jaliluddin, Abdul Rahman Ibrahim. Zahra Sayyid, Fawaz Adil, Abdullah Jaliluddin, Abdul Rahman Ibrahim. Zahra and Abdul Rahman. Nujus Salah, Nadine Hussam, Zahra Riyad, Abu Bakr Ghani. Nujus Salah, Nadine Hussam, Zahra Riyad, Abu Bakr Ghani. Nadine, Zahra, Abu Bakr Ghani. Zainab Ali Ahmad, Lulwa Ibrahim, Mariam Abdul Amir, Masht Bashar. Zainab Ali Ahmad, Lulwa Ibrahim, Mariam Abdul Amir, Masht Bashar. Zainab and Lulwa. Mariam Abdul Amir, Masht Bashar, Asil Hassan, Ali Mustafa. Mariam Abdul Amir, Masht Bashar, Asil Hassan, Ali Mustafa. Ali Mustafa, Hamad Khalid, Abdullah Husamuddin. Ali Mustafa, Hamad Khalid, Abdullah Husamuddin. Abdullah Husamuddin, Latifa Ahmad, Fatma Abdali, Zainab Abdali. Abdullah Husamuddin, Latifa Ahmad, Fatma Abdali, Zainab Abdali. Latifa, Fatma. Zainab Abdul Al, Ala Salman, Isra Abdul Karim, Ali Abdul Razak. Zainab Abdul Al, Ala Salman, Isra Abdul Karim, Ali Abdul Razak. Isra and Ali. Elizabeth Ann, Ali Makki, Ibrahim Muhammad. Elizabeth Ann, Ali Makki, Ibrahim Muhammad. Okay, Ibrahim. Anybody else from this section? Anybody else from this section? Done. Going to the other section now. People from the other section. People from the other section. Who is from the other section? Section 1. People from section 1. Dana and Huda. Fatma. Dana. Muhammad Khalid. Huda. Fatma. Who is Dana, Isa and Sarah. Okay. Dana, Isa. Sarah. Okay, who else? Section 1. Section 1. People from section 1. Fatma and then from section 2, right? Anybody else from section 1? Zainab Abdullah. Okay. But you are from the other section. Anybody else from section 1? Then I can move to section 2. Nobody, everybody done from section 1? Okay, Zainab Abdullah, I will mark you. Okay, thank you. See you guys on Sunday, inshallah. Have a nice weekend. Yes.
Can I ask you something regarding the project?
Yeah.
Our group, we have the T intersection, okay?
Yes.
So when we calculate the headway, we calculate it for each road in the intersection or for one direction only?
Headway is normally the same. You can do it for one direction, no problem.
One direction? Ah, okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. But like do it repetitively. Like don't do it just once and even for saturation headway, you take an average value. So you will do it like for 2-3 times, 2-3 Qs. Okay, so you measured it for all the beakers. You found out the saturation headway and the startup loss time for 1 Q. Then you repeat it for 2-3 times, at least 3 times.
And I take the average for them.
Yeah, for startup loss time, you will have the average of 3 Qs, and for headway, you will have an overall average for all the Qs.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.